Hi guys, it's Ona and Dr. Vicky. Welcome to Mystic Sisters on the 4/4/2025 portal.
Woo. How mystical are we?
Pretty intense.
Pretty
Pretty
intense.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've been reading your comments. And Vicky, you got something you want to say?
Well, we changed our night from Saturday to Friday because I had a family thing and you had a thing that you were doing. And I said to Ona, I really prefer Saturday nights. It's something about the whole Saturday day
Yeah.
for me energy. And then because I do a lot of work on Saturdays, so when it comes to Mystic Sisters, I feel like I'm actually going out on the town, which is as close as I get. So but we originally thought we would change it because there were other people who do lives at the same time, and we thought it was going to interfere and stuff. So my vote is for Saturday.
Yeah.
And so if that sounds good to everybody,
Yeah.
Saturday.
We're going to do Saturday starting next week. So I hope that is okay for you guys. I see Mary, you're on the 151 bus. Is it super crowded right now? I can only imagine. Oh my God. The Cubs won the home opener, Mayor. Good luck. Good luck, girl. Good luck. Good luck. I don't hold your seat. Urgh.
Steph likes Saturday too. Good, good.
Okay, good.
So it has been decided.
Yeah.
We experiment a little bit here.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a class and I have one at the end of April also on a Saturday, but I can Zoom it. And they could Zoom me the class and then I can take it when I need to, and that will be perfect because it's new moon, new you. It's all this neurographica stuff that I've been like really, digging my heels into. Because it actually does follow like an algorithm to,
Do you want to share your latest creation with everybody?
creation. I'm working on a couple of things. That the coloring part is hard, but it's really an important part of it. So that's the thing I'm struggling with. The 4/4 portal. Duh, right? The
Yeah.
4/4 portal, the number 4 for me is green. And the number 8 is like on fire. I can't see it but for flames. And I was doing this, and then you did this morning, like the 4/4 portal is coming up, and I was like, huh. And I put down I'm like, oh my God, it came through. So that's good. It's all connected. And it has field lines and everything. So it's a finished piece. And those are the kinds of things that I'm asking for. And I was telling Dr. Vicky that I love that I can kind of tune in and connect with signs and synchronicities quickly, but I feel like there's a lot of junk mail. So I want to have a clearer thing. I don't want to figure out a puzzle.
Right.
They're all puzzles. They're all puzzles. So that's what I've been doing. That's my portal artwork. Yeah. So what did you do for 4/4 portal? I know you worked. I know you pulled the cards and did the astrology, and that it's significant.
Very significant astrology right now.
Yeah.
And what I did some yard work today. We had the first nice day. It was about 68 out.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just sort of was soaking it in because I knew it's New England. It ain't going to be nice tomorrow. And sure enough,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be cold and rainy tomorrow.
Yeah. No, you got to get out there when the going's good. Yeah.
When you can. Yeah, I was trying to clean up the driveway, and all the leaves and all the
Composty stuff.
Yeah. So maybe tomorrow, if I get out in the morning, you'll see some of my handiwork. But
I saw the purple flowers. Those came up.
The what flowers? Oh, the little purple ones?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have a whole, the daffodils just went.
Yeah. Oh, they got a little chilly. I
Well,
went for a walk yesterday and there were some daffodils that were open. And then there were ones that are just kind of coming up, some tulips coming up. And I thought, I think some people went ahead and got their spring pots out already because there's violas in the baskets and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think people are just, is that the dog making that noise? We're not even going to pretend that he's not there, right?
If I don't pay attention to him, that maybe he won't, do that thing. Like he's starving.
Like cry like he's being murdered. That one.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Welcome,
Yes.
Teresa, Mary, Steph. Oh my gosh, Roxana. Thank you guys so much for coming in here on Friday.
We really do appreciate the time we get to spend with you guys. So this week.
Yes.
So this week, I guess Signalgate is in the rearview mirror. We don't have to worry about that anymore.
Remember we thought it might be a psyop? Let's see if this story disappears. It's still there, but they're trying to bury it. There's a big lump in the rug.
Yeah. Nobody can see me.
There's a big lump in the rug.
It kind of reminds you of when you have like a dog that hides behind like a tiny tree, and he thinks you can't see him, and his big body is just like, well, yeah, mm-hmm. That's what that reminds me of. That reminds me. You can't see me.
So Alexandra says Elon is gone. He's not been in the news today, and the activity so I have their energies kind of set up between the screen and the window, and whatever the wind does to them, kind of like I just kind of like pass by and see what's going on.
You have an Elon one too? You have an Elon one too?
Yes, I do. But it's a card. It's the card, Page of Wands card. It was an extra card in the deck.
Okay.
Yeah. And Elon was on top of him, like kissing his ass kind of thing. And I thought,
yeah.
Because the card flies around in the wind between the screen and the window.
Yeah.
And, that was just laying there. He's not going to go.
You want to show people what you're talking about? Your little.
Can I?
Yeah, sure. So they know what you're talking about.
Is it okay?
It's okay with me.
All right. Well, use a little chart right now.
I don't know if any of you know what we're talking about, but you'll see. Excuse me. There he is.
Yeah. So I see his hair was on fire the other day.
Oh, is that why it's charred on the end? Was that purposeful or was that an accident?
That was when Wisconsin lost.
Oh, he's got poopy pants.
That's when, and he's got the hand of karma right where it belongs. That was when Wisconsin lost, that race that Elon poured all his money into. His hair was on fire that day. That morning, I'm like, he's not active enough. We need to activate him. And I set his hair on fire. And that was when Wisconsin lost their little game.
When Wisconsin actually won and they lost, these guys,
right.
The card in the window and the voodoo doll.
So this is why, like, I keep the energy compartmentalized in that space that has some activity that has nothing to do with me, just whatever the wind's blowing around. And I just sort of like check in on it. Or if I'm like having one moment where I saw him and I don't like it, then I just pass by and I go like a cat, like, or yell at it, yell at it or something. And just shut the window. Because
so this is actually, if you guys want to like create something like this,
open the window.
yeah, you can go put them back in the window.
Well, I'm touching in here.
It's sort of an interesting way to deal with your stress. Skid marks, yes, skid marks. It's an interesting way to deal with your stress. Make it a game. Make it a game. So this week we had Signal Gate is over.
Yes.
Not really, but they're trying to pretend.
Yeah.
They're trying to pretend. But I think the big story this week was the poor bastards that are down in San Salvador or El Salvador in these awful gulags. And they're like, well, it was a mistake, but there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, they are going to get pressure because there is something they can do.
Oh, yeah.
We had somebody in Chicago, actually. Was that in national news, too, who is a kidney donor?
Oh, no, I didn't hear that.
For his brother. Yeah, he came here from Venezuela. He's a kidney donor for his brother to see if he's a match whose, brother needs a kidney. And they like scooped him up after he dropped his brother off for dialysis, like some crazy story, right? Drops his brother off for dialysis and ICE gets him. He's back. They can get them back.
Yeah. I heard the judge is ordering them to bring the guy back. But
yes.
So far they haven't listened to the judges, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. And also Wisconsin was a big win. So that's a good omen. Mm-hmm. And even though we lost in Florida, the margins were much worse for the Republicans than they were in the election. And that was only like what? He's only been in for like 70 days. And we had to wait 2 months for him to go in or something, right? Like,
yeah.
So how many? So that's like 100 days since he won.
Yeah.
Oh, and wait, I forgot one. I have to use the air quotes.
He didn't. He cheated, and it's going to come out. This might be what they're fighting about, because in Elon in his state, with his left brain on low gear right now, will probably just spill the beans about everything. So,
well, I mean, Trump already did spill the beans. Trump already said stuff.
He says that, but there's no evidence, So I think a lot of this is occurring so that they have evidence that, they did something. Right now they're trying to, although all these people that are getting laid off for, Head Start programs and stuff like that. I'm like, the states can't handle it. We can't. We can't pick up all that slack.
The North Carolina Supreme Court judge election. She won, but now they want to throw out the votes. I think that's still being litigated. Dumpf has left for Mar-a-Lago for a golf tournament this week. Oh yeah, with the Saudis, our buddies, the Saudis, who brought us 9/11 and the dismemberment of Jamal Khashoggi. Nice guys. You notice that he's like hanging around with all the like uber misogynists. Like the more misogynist they are, the more they want to like be with them. And I
Yeah.
can't, I watch some of these things, in passing when they're talking to people who either Trump wants to get in or who's in, and they all seem like Goombas to me. I don't know.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of them are like, well, it's like this is the way it is, and I'm like, I don't think this guy knows what he's talking about. Oh, from his
I'm reading the comments. How about crazy Laura Loomer? Yes, another side story.
yeah.
Like she's really way out there. It's obvious. And sometimes it's like, oh, don't show that. Like, let her fix that before. We shouldn't be seeing this without like a disclaimer because it's a clinical problem that how sick she is. It was kind of like, I think that was a side story too. Like she's erupted from. But you know what? Who did come up in a feed who was Mills? You told me the Queen of Pentacles. Was it Stephanie?
Oh, I thought it was Susie. I thought it was Susie Wiles might be the Queen of Pentacles.
Wiles. Susie Wiles, yes.
Wow.
She came up in
Susie Wiles is the chief. She's the chief of staff for Trump. Her father was Pat Summerall. Remember Pat Summerall for the football guy?
God.
That was her dad. Her name was Susan Summerall before she got married. Yeah. So she's been a Republican. She's a Republican, like born bred and like. So I can't imagine somebody like her would be sitting well with her with the stuff going on with Putin. I just can't imagine that's true. But who knows? I mean, I guess you sell your soul, right?
Yeah.
Everything else goes by the wayside.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're all clinical. None of them should be on TV.
I know.
I'm just amazed that
how much we've learned about some clinical things like the psychopathy of a narcissist. Like, who'd have thought you were so well read about stuff like that?
Well, Chiron is in Aries, and so we do have to learn about these things, right?
So yeah, it's kind of cool.
So the interesting thing about what's happening today astrologically is that aspect, the sextile between Uranus and Saturn, is part of a cycle that began in 1988. And when we were at the opposition of that cycle, when it was halfway through that cycle, that's when Barack Obama won the presidency.
Oh.
And in 2021, when we were sort of coming out of COVID, or just starting to, because we had the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we had the last quarter square, and now we're at the sextile. So that last quarter square brings like rebellious energy. We don't trust what's being told to us by authority, which was very much the experience, I think, with COVID.
Yeah.
At that time. And now we're at the sextile. And so this has been like since 1988 till now, this cycle is coming to a place where we can actually, or we're likely to move in the direction of some progressive thinking and more Aquarian thinking, right? And so this whole year, we have this whole year. So even though it seems really bad, there's so much opportunity right now to do it differently. That's
what's hard is having the opportunity and funding.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Like, right now we're worried about how beings, just like load up on stuff that you can survive on, because good luck getting clean, unaltered, produce at the store, with cuts in CDC and Food and Drug Administration and the increased costs. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, well, I think the dust hasn't settled on most of that stuff. I think we're going to have to see when the dust settles.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of organizations that are already organized that can, I'm not going to say they can't take over necessarily, They
Right.
might be able to take over the slack until we can figure out what to do. You know, the Aquarian age is one in which we're more community oriented, more tribal anyway. And so we have to just find our tribes and then, you know, send out the people who are willing to talk to the other people, and hopefully we can somewhat get along, and we can, you know, move forward in this world, or just not die in a fiery plane crash or something. You know what I mean?
Right. Because of understaffing.
Yeah.
Mary
And
said, or somebody said, Alexandra said, Trump wants the stock market to crash and it gives him more power, or he wants the stock market to crash because he's basically putting everything on sale for people who could afford to buy it. I could see that.
oh yeah, it's the selling America for parts is
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like those guys who steal the expensive cars and then chop them up. It's like a chop shop.
Yeah.
But you got to expect that from criminals. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you're not getting people who have any kind of.
I still think a lot of this is real fear-based kind of stuff that is not going to get follow through. Is not going to follow through on, because in instant you'll see how detrimental it is to the economy. It already was in the stock market, like was worse than what he did in COVID. It's the COVID stock market right now.
You know, the guy that the
There's
guy
your
that.
Uranus square or Uranus sextile Saturn. Uranus and Taurus.
Yep. Yep. And Saturn and Pisces. Right. I was going to say something, and it flew right out of my head. Okay.
Alexandria said Marco Rubio should be ashamed. Yeah, he should be, but same soul to soul. Remember, that devil card keeps coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the energy. It's greed.
Oh, let me pick a Mystic
too,
Sister
isn't it?
card. I have to pick a Mystic Sister card. I almost forgot. Last week,
got the crow deck.
You got a crow deck? Like the crow deck?
I got the crow deck. Yeah.
It's a great deck. I love that deck.
I really want to get, like under the covers with it. You know what I mean? Like with a light flashlight and like under the, it's that kind of deck. Her other deck I really love. I love the art.
Okay,
so
I picked a Mystic Sister card. Let me read it to you. I got Bee Goddess. The Bee Goddess.
Interesting.
Right? Domesticity and nurturing. Wrong one. Interconnection and community. We were just talking about that. Isn't that funny? The Bee Goddess reminds you of miraculous interconnectedness of all life. You may feel the path to reach your goals has been a solo endeavor, but this is an illusion. You have certainly been busy buzzing from task to task, and like a bee, your focus is only on the present mission. I did see a bumblebee today, by the way, for the first time.
Did ya?
Yes.
Okay. Send you a message.
Yeah. And one of those carpenter bees, one of those big fat ones with the big fat black bum.
Oh, that's okay.
They're really cute. You may not be conscious of all the other busy hands at work to reach a higher goal. You are called to trust the mysterious force that guides all in a harmonious pattern in order to accomplish something that is impossible to take on alone. We can do this. We just have to get our hives all set up. It's funny because when Kamala was running, I bought the Bee Tarot.
Yeah.
And I used it mostly for her. And
Yes.
I haven't really used it a lot since then.
Yes.
But she kind of has that bee energy, I think.
Yeah. There are certain decks. That's why I don't know. I like, the deck that It has like my mom's ashes. I don't use those for politics.
Yeah.
That's not a political deck. That's straight message to God kind of thing. And this deck I don't want to do political. There's some political decks that I don't think I could use for anything else because I keep seeing the same thing. It's hard. Like my Rider Waite is retired because it's a very old and it's got like I wrote, keywords on it and
Little
stuff.
notes for yourself. Yeah.
I've also retired decks that went out of print, so I don't use those very much that often.
Yeah. I have a couple of those. I have a couple of out of print decks.
Yeah.
So why don't we pull some cards on a subject? Do we have a subject in mind? Anybody have a question for the cards? Let me think now.
Last week we did what WTF are they thinking? So we can give you a head start and say WTF. You want to do that?
I don't know. What do you want to ask? Let's see.
The march on Saturday.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. All right. You pick a couple cards, I'll pick up a couple of cards, and we'll see.
Okay. A couple fell out. They fell out. They fell straight out. Oh, this is good. Well, the end of victory. The one on the bottom is the victory card. It's the six of wands. We like that, right? That's on the bottom of the deck. I have the 10 of wands. Okay, this might be just the drive to why you have to go there in the first place. The burden could be like tough to get there. It could be crowded. I get the 4 of swords. So be careful.
Yep.
Might want to stay home. And the ace of swords. This is like the justice. Like this. Some people just might. This is one of those do or die protests. That could be the message there.
Sorry,
right?
guys.
We've got to do this.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to try to do this.
We've got to do this for our justice, for our rights. We are desperate. We've bundled our energy and we're doing this for our rights. So I'd say be careful anyway. I don't want to be in any situation or advise anybody to be any place that they don't feel safe. If you don't feel safe, get out of there. Absolutely. I'm not going to Daily Plaza just because of the crowd. I could take the 151, right, Mary? Right? I can get on that bus and get down there. I'm not going to. Too many people. And I know that in this neighborhood, there's something that's going on. I just got to step out the door. I know there's a Cubs game too. So I have to watch out for day drinkers on Saturday already. But yeah.
I've fallen into the abyss. Can you see me?
Oh my God.
I have no idea what happened. I can't fix it. No, it's not you. It's got to be mine.
Can you do that where you focus your, let it pick up on you. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, you guys don't have to see me. These are the cards I got for tomorrow. Our friend the devil comes up first. Okay.
All right.
Then I get the Empress. Okay. This I feel is the women, sort of like almost like a women's march.
Yeah.
The 7 of Swords against this is stealing and destruction, right? So fighting that. Then I got the Ace of Pentacles. So this is, I think, just the beginning of something that's going to get much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Hanged Man. It's somehow going to force people to see things in a different way. I think it's going to be very good for people to feel like they're not the only one. Like I feel like a lot of us feel like we're just screaming into the wind.
Yeah.
And I feel like that people coming together is gonna be but with the devil there right at the beginning, I'd say you really have to be careful.
Yeah, yeah, because it's not very well advertised. It's not like the news, local news, or they mention it, but they don't make a big story out of it. Truly want people to be safe. If you are an energy worker, give out the good juju vibes, right? Light a candle, set a stone aside for, if you can't get there, please be safe, because people are dicks.
Cory Booker's 25-hour speech was spectacular. I do agree with you on that.
I didn't see 25 hours, but what I saw was awesome.
Yeah, he's quite a guy. He's quite a guy. From New Jersey, my home state. Uh, yeah, I've been following Cory Booker for many, many years. He's a vegan. He's a vegan.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Good
didn't know.
for him. He must have had a jar of peanuts under that podium, huh? Paul Lizzie said they're telling everyone to promise no violence. I'm not worried about us being violent.
Yeah, we're not going to be violent. Yeah, it's the other. It's just like the BLM practice uh, things. They were not, the people who created the riots were not from that neighborhood. They were outside agitators.
Patty asked, will Cory Booker be running for president? I know you put out some stuff with his numbers, and I felt like he was speaking in a very presidential way, really nice. I mean, even though he was tired there at the end, like during these interviews and stuff, I thought that's presidentially.
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, he
What
was
was
it? He's having a nodal return.
Yes.
A nodal return right now. And he had Uranus on his Mercury and during this speech, like almost exact. I mean, he certainly has the ego to run for president, I would say. He definitely is good at self-promotion. But I think he's a sincere guy.
Yeah. I'm going to pull a couple cards. Let's see. I'll pull 3 cards to see if he's going to run for president, because I like that. I felt that same feeling. Like, that's kind of presidentially, sort of the way he pulled that off. So we'll see. Pray for the men in El Salvador. Somebody said, who was it? EcoSoul, are in DC, we were being told to wear gas masks. I don't think that it's a bad idea to wear a mask or have one in your pocket, one of your COVID style ones, or just a bandana, and that you can put just in case there is some kind of aerosol that irritates you, or smoke or whatever. Yes.
Right. Maybe some have some like a saline solution or something in case, so you can, have like I think a first aid kit is probably a good idea.
Yeah, a gas mask is an identifier. You don't want to identify yourself like that if this is what people are, Mary, is there a thing at Montrose and Sheridan tomorrow? Or is that just where you are?
Wear sunglasses. Yeah, actually wearing sunglasses, wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And wearing something that's unidentifying is probably the best way to go.
Yeah. I'm not one to do that, like mace and pepper spray stuff, but the classes I'm taking and I'm coming home and it's dark out, it's after the sun goes down, and I walk in between a liquor store and a pawn shop, I'm gonna carry my fucking pepper spray. I will, but I don't think I would take it to this kind of thing. This not for us. There's way more of us than them. Honestly. I don't know if they're going to mace you. I think they're scaring you. That's a threat. So we got a Cory Booker run going. Let's see.
What did you get?
Let me see the one that flipped out. I got the Devil. The Devil, the Eight of Cups, and the World. I don't think he's going to run, you guys.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to run.
But it doesn't mean that he's not going to be
2028.
You know, a great statesman.
Maybe 4 years after that, but for that race, for that time frame, it says no. 5 of Wands on the bottom.
I'll tell you what I got. I got the 5 of Pentacles as the first card. So that's loss, and you know these two people they've broken their honeypot, and
yes,
crossing that is the King of Wands, which kind of could be construed as him. So I feel like he did it. He did what he did at this time to support people, to bring that support energy in for the people, because we're craving leadership, we're craving support. Underneath it, I have this is the Chariot in this card, in this deck, the Chariot card, the wheelbarrow, as it were. So this is part of his soul's path. This is definitely part of his soul's path that he's working on. We have the wheel in the past, so that's a change of fortune.
Okay.
We have the Prince of Cups in the sky. So he's out there trying to bring a sense of love and peace and all those things that he talked about in his speech. And then I get the 6 of Swords. So this, I would say, is a no at this point.
And the Prince of Cups, I feel like, is somebody who can serenade.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be in that speech that, like, he'll be good at that. But to go that far after this, can you imagine cleaning up after this mess?
Yeah, I can, because we're Pluto in Virgo. We've been cleaning up messes our whole life.
I don't know anybody who would want to run and clean up after this mess.
Well, I mean, it's going to take a long time, but this is a natural time for the United States to have a shift like this. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
In a way, maybe it's best that we're not, the most powerful and mighty Oz on the planet, because we're a little bit too young, and we're a little bit too warlike, and we're a little bit too feeling like we have, that we're the top of the hill when,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think we've that's the biggest point in that, like, is raking a thing across my head, is we are a young country, and we didn't learn a lot from, like, socialized medicine, things like that. We came up with our own bank, right? And the trickle down didn't work.
Well, the Republicans, one of the other things that these cycles indicate, that we were talking about with Uranus and Saturn, and even the Neptune Saturn cycle that's at its very, very end right now, and we'll be having a new beginning with that. This is a time when countries shift, You know, after the Cold War, we kind of kept going, and Russia completely changed. And then, unfortunately for them, they fell into, you know, Putin's diabolical plan that
Yeah.
he had. But you know, this is like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I think is, you know what's disheartening to me is that we seem to be hanging out with all the misogynists, as I said before. Most of these countries, women have absolutely no rights, and that's what they're trying to do in this country. And I refuse. I
Oh,
refuse to
that's not going to happen.
give that in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that you know, there's not going to happen because a lot of those people were oppressed before all the social media and the ability to communicate it was available. And we know once we learned about that, we're like, that's not right. And that's not going to happen here. You know, we'll go there. You know, I'll go there. I'll go there. I'll bring my dog. We've
We
taken, Eco Soul says we've taken a lot for
Yeah,
granted. Yeah,
yeah.
we have.
You know, I was thinking about like my life and how blessed I've really been being born at the time that I was born in. I mean, it wasn't without its challenges, but for the most part, you know, we haven't had to be afraid really. I mean, besides the fact being a woman in any country has a certain amount of danger, but I mean, just as like Americans, and you know, I benefited in a way from the civil rights bill and all of that stuff, and um, you know, so I don't know. Now it's time. Now it's hard. It's hard, and you know, there are certain generations who make big sacrifices. You know, for
Yeah.
for what's going on.
Yeah, Slew says I refuse to. There would be refusal. You wouldn't if you're asking us to like, you know, what was that? I did not watch that show, The Handmaiden's Tale, but I know the concept and the idea. Like we would, if they forced us to do something that like that, we would walk around naked. Like we're the opposition of what they want us to do would be no. Yeah. Those kinds of things are not, you can't go backwards there. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was getting a college education it was kind of waffling when it was time. Like some people did, some people went that sort of traditional kind of route and got married after high school kind of thing. And then it was obligatory. You go to college. You're not, you know what I mean? After that. So we'll see. We'll see what comes out of this. It's going to be totally different. And when does Mercury go direct? Isn't it soon?
the 7th,
Monday? Yes.
and Venus goes direct on the 12th, which is the full moon,
Yes.
which is a full moon in Libra, which is a Venus ruled sign. But it goes direct after the full moon.
Okay. All right. And that's when we're going to do we'll do like Moonshine and Mystic Sisters at the same time. But if we can like do on both channels, we do on both channels, and then it'll be on Saturday night, and we can have a full moon celebration.
Woo! A celebration.
Because it'll be full at 7:22, so I can have the candle ready to light, and
We can actually have like a little thing.
yeah.
In here.
Yeah, Steph says this retrograde has been horrible. I haven't been really, maybe, I don't know. It was kind of a metal sort of a week, I guess, a little bit, but this Mercury retrograde hasn't made me mad. Like he usually makes me mad. Or I even found a reason for it to make me mad. Giblets is asleep while he's licking himself. on the couch. Teresa asked, "Where's Giblets?"
He's around, believe me. He's already been on his mother's lap, but that was before.
Yeah.
He
knows when I'm a certain way I posture myself and set up a light and stuff like that. He's like an opportunist. He's like, oh, this is when she can't pay attention to me. And he ate early. He's like, he should be fine, but he needed that little bit of attention.
Don't we all, though?
So he's on the couch. He is slowing down. He is slowing down.
My husband and I were talking about another dog.
Nice.
Yeah. I brought it up. He doesn't bring it up. I was like, so, like, this is just suppose. What kind of dog would you like if we got another dog, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I don't know. He's watching this guy who's rebuilding his family's house in Portugal. We watch a lot of these shows where these people go into these ruined houses and they create like little farms and stuff. And that guy has a Great Pyrenees, which is one of the like the big fluffy white dog, right?
Yes.
And his name is Alabaster. So Michael's watching the show. I'm like, what's Alabaster doing, right? So he's like, well, I like Alabaster. I'm like, good. I've always wanted a Great Pyrenees.
Oh my God. Giblets is my first small dogs, medium size, smaller than my waist. And I miss having a big dog, but on the other hand, I like this size for me.
Yeah. Well, you're in the city. You're in an apartment. I wouldn't want a Great Pyrenees in an apartment.
You'd be surprised. And I think COVID and people being stuck at home and like very shelter sort of, shelter strong, adopted big dogs.
Cindy says she has 13 mini Aussies. Yes, we know. I wouldn't be opposed to 2 dogs, Cindy. Let me tell you, a big one and a little one. That'd be cool. Oh, that's true bulldog, charismatic.
Yeah. Well, he's.
They definitely.
The next one, I would like to not have a non-shedding dog.
Have you ever had a non-shedding dog?
No, I had shepherds.
Shepherds. I think I'm still finding here.
I had a shepherd collie, and a lab.
Yeah.
Hanuman. Yeah. No, they all shed. And Gilbert sheds too, but just like a couple times a year when he gets freaked out. But when he was sick, he lost a lot of hair.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. Bulldog rules the roost. Yeah, I know.
Man. Yeah. My cousin asked me yesterday, she goes, would you get another French bulldog? I said, no.
Poodles are great dogs. They're so smart. They're like them, and when you look at like the smartest dogs, usually it's Aussies, German Shepherds, and Poodles, or Aussies, Poodles, and German Shepherds.
Yeah. Border collies are really smart dogs. Again, you need to run.
Yeah,
they need to run. Some of these dogs that are big, and there is space. I mean, they can go for super long walks, but I don't think your house is that big. You've got these big giant dogs.
Well, it's big enough. We had
not you, like the people in the neighborhood that went dog crazy during COVID and adopted all these shelter dogs, and like they're stuck with these giant dogs in these small apartments.
Right. I understand what you're saying now. Yeah.
I got bit by Cujo down the hall.
Oh, that's right. You did get bit by a dog.
I got bit by Cujo down the hall. Yeah. Yeah.
A 3-pound Chihuahua and a 20-pound poodle mixed. The only time I ever got bit by a dog was a Chihuahua.
Really? Yeah, they're tough. I would like a small dog that if like we walked and I was a little bit further and the dog's tired, I could just shove it in my shirt. I can't do that with him.
Well,
You get tired.
you could, but you would look a little,
Oh my God,
unusual with 30-pound breasts.
it's too much. He's
Now,
too,
how much does he weigh? 30 pounds?
he's about 30 pounds. Yeah. He's always between like 28, 30. Yeah. I would like a smart dog again.
An obedient, maybe a smart.
That's what I miss about the big dogs. They were smart dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not that he isn't smart. I know he's smart, but he's a jerk about it.
They definitely have entitlement issues, I think.
If you were really seriously considering a dog, what kind of dog would you get?
Me? Are you talking to me or talking to people in the
You.
the chat? Me.
Yeah. It's time for dog.
Well, I've always wanted Great Pyrenees.
Yeah.
I would get a shepherd in a heartbeat again. I mean, they were just it's sort of like once you get like a special dog like a German shepherd, it's like it's hard to want anything else.
I agree.
You know,
And it's not like you're replacing the shepherd. It's a different dog.
right.
But Diesel was,
and
for
and
sure.
they're not like
Yeah.
clingy. They don't need to be on you all the time. They come over for love and then they leave you alone. I kind of like that's how I am with my husband. We kind of leave each other alone and we get together for cuddles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's okay with me.
This is a good question. If you were a dog, what kind of dog would you be?
Oh, now that's a question. Oh, I don't know. Well, I'm a little vigilant, but I'm not hyper vigilant. I like to eat, so I could be any dog I've ever met. Uh, it's hard to say. I think I don't know. I'd probably just say a shepherd because I love them so much.
Yeah.
And I do like myself. So
I would be a
I've always wanted a Newfoundland too. I had a boyfriend who had a Newfie. His name was Caesar. He was like 180 pounds.
Yeah.
He was the sweetest dog.
Oh.
And he would just, when I would walk him, because I would always, because I didn't have a dog and I just loved to have like a 180-pound dog. And I used to walk him around the neighborhood, and it wasn't the greatest neighborhood on Long Island that I walked him in, but no one ever bothered us. I swear I could have walked down naked. It looked like I was walking a bear.
Oh, I know, right?
And people would say, and the little kids would go, "Is that a bear?" I'd say, "No, it's a dog. It's okay. Can I pat him?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can pat him." He didn't care. He was a great dog.
Oh no, I totally felt safe with the big dog, walking the big dog. Not him.
If one of my like dreams is to like drive cross country or do something fun like that, but I would never do it without a dog. I would never do it without a dog. I don't feel safe unless I have something with fangs with me.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm older and I can't run as fast.
Teresa wants to know anything to say about RFK, and do you think he'll be leaving in big caps? She's really, really mad at him. I'm mad at him too. I think he's a total inappropriate for this assignment.
They're all inappropriate for the assignment.
Yeah, way over his head. I would be a Pomeranian, Vicky. I would be a Pomeranian if I were.
They're usually very well spoiled. They get a lot of toys. They get to go to the hairdresser a lot.
Oh, it'd be so much fun.
Okay. What was the question I asked?
RFK. It's under consideration.
Oh. Yeah, I don't. Something's going to happen. I think something's going to happen, and he's going to get blamed for it.
He's back in Malibu.
I think he's leaving.
Yeah. Something is under consideration. What'd you get?
I got the King of Wands.
Okay.
The Two of Cups.
Okay.
So that's an agreement with the king, right?
Hmm.
Then I got the Six of Cups, which is around children. And then I got the Ten of Swords.
Oh.
And then I got the Five of Pentacles. I think that there's going to be, I don't know if it's measles or polio or something that's going to come and cause some big problems.
Hmm.
And it's, you know, it's just nothing. I think they're trying to make it simple, and it's not simple. You can't just you're not you it's just not, that's not the way to do it. So I don't see him staying around.
No.
Maybe a year, maybe he'll be in for a year.
Yeah. It is related to some kind of childhood disease thing. I got this is what I said, it's under consideration. This is the Three of Wands. So something that's bridging, right? The Knight of Cups, this could be some kind of waterborne viral thing like
It
measles.
isn't polio is what, or smallpox is waterborne, one of them.
There's a bunch of shit that is droplet fungus stuff. Child, Page of Pentacles,
Oh,
Queen of Wands, and the Knight of Swords. It's like he's out. And then the Eight of Cups was on the bottom, which is kind of like
yeah,
leaving it
turning your back
behind.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we recognize how inappropriate he is without even reading the job description, can you imagine what the people around him are trying to scramble and do right now while he's crippling this whole thing? You know, I'm all into alternative types of medicine and herbs and things like that, but it's used in conjunction with the kind of science that's available for disease that we have, not in lieu of or in
Right.
spite of.
Right. Right. I mean, it's important to do our best to stay healthy, staying away from, you know, the I was always raised to think the less medicine that you take, the healthier you are.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
I was like, Italians are like, I'm not taking any medicine. That my mother used to say, if you go to the doctor too much, you get sick. You shouldn't go to the doctor too much.
I
She lived to 102, so she I don't think she was on a drug until she was in her 80s, and that was like anti-anxiety pill, which you probably
Yeah.
the whole time, but it's another story.
Wendy said measles could lead to meningitis. Yeah, it could be something because that's an error. Well, that would be, yeah. I mean, it could be something like that. But
Yeah,
yeah, like
I think that
I have people in my family that still they won't go to the doctor because if they go to the doctor or they go to the hospital, that's where they die, right? Uncle Joe
yeah,
says he can't get a
yeah,
cat. He has something wrong, but he just want to get a CAT scan because they'll find something else. And like if they're looking for one thing, they're not going to try and find anything else. They're not working that hard. That's how
um,
the old school is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But you know, sometimes we had a friend, my girlfriend Karen and I had a friend we went to school with who had cancer. He had some sort of, I think, lymphoma or something like that. And he was actually working in her office at the time. And his wife called her and said, "Please talk to my husband and have him go on the chemo. He won't do it. He wants to do it with nutrition, and he wants to do it with this, and he wants to do it with that." And so my girlfriend Karen sat him down and said, "Look, sometimes a vitamin is good, and sometimes, you know, an adjustment is good. But if you have an elephant charging you, you want to have an elephant gun.
Right.
Sometimes you need an effing elephant gun." And he listened to her, and he's alive today because of that, because he would have definitely, it wasn't something that he could do with alternative therapies, you know.
We used peppermint oil and orange slices when somebody was getting a bone marrow transplant because of the smell of the preservative was something we didn't want them to remember.
Yeah.
Perfect example of these two disciplines at the same time kind of helping each other. And I remember that smell.
Mm.
Yeah. But that was at UCSF. So, we were doing those kinds of things, making tea and stuff like that all the time. But they were in the hospital for, leukemia.
Coastal Scroll says polio wasn't waterborne. She had it in 1954. They closed all the swimming pools in the DC area every summer.
Really? See? Yeah. I would think about those things. I'm not a public pool kind of person. It wasn't a criteria I didn't want to live in a building that had a pool because I did that before and it's always like needs maintenance. And the only time they can fix it is in the summer. So I think I swam in that pool like 3 times in 3 years that I lived there. And I was always a special assessment because the pool's cracked or some, and I did not want a pool because I'm not one that is comfortable with that.
They say better than having a boat is having a friend with a boat. And I think that what's better than having a pool is having a friend with a pool.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I know. The friends with boats is narrative's already gone out there in the neighborhood. So we have friends with boats. I'm thinking, when it's warm, if I don't have to commit to every single week because it might be raining or something.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe I might do sailing lessons.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Like, I think it's every Wednesday morning. They've already been out. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Because if I can just see if I can even tolerate it.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I feel like it's something I want to do.
Well, then, as long as I've known you, when you've said, I think that's something I want to do, you've done it. So, yeah. So we'll wait for the, we'll wait.
I'm going to get on the water. I'm going to get out in the water this summer. Or maybe I'll find like a sugar daddy.
There you go.
Right? In fact, I bet there's a bunch of drunk ones over in the Wrigleyville bars right now. I should put on a lip and go down there.
There you go. There you go. I like that. I like your attitude. I like your can-do attitude, Ona.
Only if they have a boat, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you might have to. I don't know. I told my girlfriend when she was moving to Washington State. I did a reading on her, and I said, "You're going to meet boat people. You're going to meet boat people, right. And it's going to be great." And sure enough, she met her husband at the time, who ended up being her husband. And their first 6 months of their life, they lived on a boat.
Oh my God. I don't think I could live on a boat.
I think I could live on a boat.
When I saw the boats, I was okay. But there's times when I'm looking and people are sailing out there and I'm nauseous right away. I'm like, oh, I can't even. Wow, you are hardcore. That doesn't look safe, right? But there's people that will go out there regardless of what the conditions are.
Yeah, so, that wouldn't be me. That would not be me. I was on a small I guess motorboat, but it wasn't like a dinghy. It was like an actual boat, right? Yeah. But a small one. And went on the Cape Cod Canal on it. It's scary. It's you come out into the ocean. It's like you're on this tiny little boat, and there's the big ocean. It takes a.
Yeah. Mary said, forget Wrigleyville, go to Chicago Yacht Club. Is Chicago Yacht Club at Belmont? Is that the Chicago Yacht Club? Because the one any further south, like by downtown, is too snooty for me.
Dr. Oz was put in charge of Medicare and Medicaid. I don't know. At least he's a doctor. You know,
There's a little window of forgiveness for that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he is a doctor. He does do a lot of, alternative therapies, and some of them work. So, I mean, I didn't really, I think that's a better job for him than senator. Although I don't know what's his name is in there now, right? Who was he? Oh,
When
that
you never said it was a joke. Let's see. Oh, I got the Wheel of Fortune just kind of like slid out. So let's start there. So this is a change of fortune for him. And he's in charge of Medicare, Medicaid, like the financial end of it, like the business end of it.
I guess administrative. I mean, why would somebody even want that job? He's like a millionaire. What does he need that job for? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's all crazy stuff. Fetterman. Yeah, Fetterman.
Yeah, somebody said Dickhead McCormick in Pennsylvania.
Fetterman turns into a dickhead too. We could
okay.
We could just call that sequelae from his stroke.
Yeah, I don't think I understand that bending the knee thing. So Dr. Oz, the Wheel of Fortune for the star. That's the two cards. The World card and the Empress. So he's going to be replaced by a woman.
Yeah. Okay.
He's going to be replaced by a woman. This is a short-lived Wheel of Fortune. Oh, look, I'm going to go to the White House. I'm a star. There you are, buddy. The World card, beginnings and endings, and then the Empress.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to replace him right away, or somebody's going to put him in his thing. Yeah. And then the Three of Wands is on the bottom. So,
well, it kind of makes sense because even in his first term, he went through a lot of people. So it's not unusual for him to,
Yeah.
I wonder how. And we can ask this maybe next week. But I saw the woman in charge of the schools education.
Oh, that bitch. Yeah.
Dan, I think her name is.
Yeah.
And she was talking to teachers, and I looked at the picture and I thought she might actually now of course I'm an optimist, so please don't come at me.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought like maybe she'll do a good job. Maybe she's smart enough and not such a like Bondi. She's like she looks at Trump like he's Jesus. She's a complete hack. She's
a scary.
I had a little bit of hope. I always have a little bit of hope, right? But it's going right out the window with that biatch.
Yeah, that's a scary situation. It is 7:08, and I think we kind of covered some good content here. And I think, just hang in there for the next week of fun. And we're going to have a really cool episode for Moonshine. Bring your moonshine. Maybe some art or something that we can all engage in so that this experience collectively brings the energy of our power together. Because that's what you guys do.
That's right. This is our little beehive for the hour. So let's buzz, vibration, right?
Yep.
The bees fly because they get into a resonance.
Steph said real moonshine. If you have it and that's what you want to drink on a Saturday night, that's fine. I don't drink at all. And when I had moonshine, I had one sip like one time. And I'll never drink that stuff again.
That's how I feel about scotch. One sip was enough.
I was like, oh, this is moonshine. And they like, you look at it, make sure it's clear that it goes through this whole like process, right? You drink, you're like, oh, that's not so bad. What's the big deal? Right? Fell right out of the chair. Whoop. And it just was like, it was like anesthesia.
Yeah, that happened with me with sangria, which just goes to show you how hard of a drinker I am. But my neighbors were having a party and they had sangria and it tasted like juice.
Girl.
And I had 3 glasses. And then by the 3rd glass, I looked at my husband and I said, Michael, you have to take me home right this minute.
The hot sun.
It's like, what? I'm like, right now, I have to, you can come back to the party. Because it was across the street. I said, you can come back. If I don't leave right now, I'm not going to get across the street.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he had to walk me across the street and tuck me in and then went back to the party.
Yep.
I was done. Sangria. But I found out that she put like cognac in it or something because it's not just wine.
Oh, yeah.
There's something else they put in it.
Was that the last time you were day drinking?
It wasn't even day drinking, but I think it was the last time I like had 3 of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was about maybe 15 years ago.
Total lightweights. But yeah, if you want to bring your moonshine, go ahead and drink moonshine. That's cool. Whatever. I don't judge. No. Mm-mm. Love you guys. Love you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on Saturday.
Yes. Next
the
Saturday.
Full moon in Libra. Heads up. Peacock ore is a stone that came to me.
Peacock ore. Oh, yeah.
For
Is that
Libra.
even? Yeah, I like that.
Libra full moon.
Hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Love you guys. Thanks for joining us.